Hello, everybody, and welcome to Recurrent. Today we're going to do a Recurrent review where I'm going to review an album, and the album is the debut album by a band called Cosmic Cathedral called Deep Water. Let's hold this up there for a minute so YouTube can get a photo for the thumbnail. Come on, YouTube, are you ready? Let's see. Okay, that should be enough. So this album came out on April 25th, 2025. It had been in the making for a while. Neal Morse referred to it as the Chester Thompson project for a little while. So what eventually happened was this band formed with the members Neal Morse, which you guys all know about Neal Morse and how I tend to talk about him a lot. Multi-instrumentalist from Nashville, is in a whole bunch of bands. Phil Keaggy, guitarist, originally from the band Glass Harp in the early 70s, became a contemporary Christian artist, a CCM, if you will, artist, and has been just basically just playing on other people's projects and stuff like that, and doing small tours. And I saw him for the first time on Morse Fest 2015, where he was a special guest, and then on drums, Chester Thompson, which we've already talked about, from Frank Zappa, Weather Report, Genesis, of course, and bassist Byron House. And Byron was the person I knew the least about, but he's played with Vince Gill, Amy Grant, Dolly Parton, Robert Plant, Linda Ronstadt, a whole list of people, also local to Nashville, and I believe Chester Thompson is local in Nashville as well. So on the inside here, you can see the guys in the band there. There's Byron on the left, Chester, Neal, and Phil there. This is on Neal Morse's property. You see a lot of photographs taken here. Almost all of the Neal Morse band shots are shot in this same place. And the album was produced by Jerry Goudreau. Jerry Goudreau is kind of like the house engineer at Neal's Radiant Studios, and he always does a really great job in everything he works on. Has done things for Neal, like his singer-songwriter albums and stuff like that. It also has a long resume. I won't go into it, but on his own, you can look him up. Jerry Goudreau, Guidroz. I don't want to misquote. I don't want to talk about anything that he's worked on that maybe I don't want to be inaccurate, so you guys can look him up. But this record is I wouldn't say it's a fusion record. I'm not the most qualified person to talk about what fusion is and what it isn't. There's plenty of people in the Sea of Tranquility community and others who know fusion much better than I do, but you definitely get a feeling right off the top of the album. The lead-off track, "The Heart of Life," is definitely starts out with a fusion-y kind of vibe. I'll hold up the track list there so you can see it. It starts off with "The Heart of Life" at 13 and a half minutes, and then 3 shorter tracks, and then the Deep Water Suite, which is the big thing at the end, which is in 9 parts. And so one of the things that I noticed first about this album was Chester's playing is very it's got a really nice groove to it. It's a little looser than what you expect from like a Neal Morse project. More looser than like Portnoy or somebody like that. He's got kind of a light touch in a lot of places. I wouldn't say that it's like that all the way through, but there are times when it's got a lighter touch. Think less Genesis and more Weather Report and Frank Zappa as far as Chester's playing on this. He sounds really good. Now, I don't know whether or not that's because he's 76 or whether that's really how Chester Thompson plays in a studio environment. That's probably more the case. Most of my experience with Chester Thompson is with Genesis. So, and then, of course, you have Phil Keaggy, just a outstanding guitarist, very, very good here. One of the things that I think is so cool about this band, Cosmic Cathedral, is how well Keaggy, being such a monster player, really fits into the ensemble really well. You don't feel like, and even when he sings, most of this is sung by Neal Morse, but when Phil sings, it holds together so well as a group that it doesn't hit you like, oh, Phil's singing now. It's just like it kind of creeps up on you, and you just kind of go, oh, that's not Neal, that's Phil. Integrates into a band situation very, very well, and doesn't, not a show off. He's not grandstanding here, just giving a really solid performance. But the biggest surprise for me was the guy that I didn't know anything about, Byron House. Man, is this a powerhouse performance by a bassist? Just plays bass, fretless bass. There are times when there appears to be pedals. I don't know whether that's Neal. I don't know whether it's pedals or just keyboards. But there are some really hard-hitting bass parts and some real low end on this record. So if you want to test out some stereo equipment, it's really good for doing that. The Heart of Life, like I said, starts out kind of fusiony. It has a big part in the middle. This is the first track I'm talking about. It has a big part in the middle where it's gets really thick and dense, and the strings come in. All of the strings are done. I'm assuming that they are multi-tracked by Chris Carmichael, who is somebody who's in Neal Morse's stable of musicians. And Mark Leniger is on here playing the saxophone, is another person that Neal works with a lot. But Heart of Life, very interesting track. Very, like I said, it's just the ensemble just sounds really big, thick, and huge. Side B starts out with Time to Fly, which is kind of a lighter song. And the second track on the album I really wanted to highlight because it's called I Won't Make It. And it's a very straightforward ballad, one of Neal's songs. You can tell it's one of Neal's songs. But really, really good, really strong. And if you're familiar with, the Neal Morse Band, you know that there's a lot of really great Neal Morse penned ballads of late. But this one is really spectacular. It may be my favorite. And it's got a big epic key change towards the end. And it's got a part of it that Neal sings falsetto the first time he does it, and then the second and third time he does it, he actually goes up to the top of his range. Really good, strong, beautiful song. And then it leads into Walking in Daylight, and I kind of feel like I Won't Make It and Walking in Daylight is kind of I think it's the highlight of the album, even more so than the Deepwater Suite, because Walking in Daylight is this great. It's very. It's almost kind of a yacht rocky, kind of a electric piano based kind of thing. Fantastic playing by Neal, and that's one of the cool things about this album is, he's credited with keyboards, guitars, and vocals, but he's Neal Morse, the keyboardist on this album, and because he's been playing so much guitar in the Neal Morse Band and the projects that he's done since then, it's really cool to have him be the only keyboardist on the album. So when you hear keyboards, you know it's him. Really, really nicely played this track, Walking in Daylight, sung lead vocals by Phil Keaggy. Just remarkable track. I really hope that you guys will look this up. It's available to stream. I hope you'll look this up and listen to it because it's really good. Deepwater Suite, which on the record is side C and side D. It looks to be, 23:14 and 15:07, so it's almost 30 minutes long. It's really a great track. It starts out with it has a part in it called Launch Out Part 1, and after an introduction, and then Launch Out Part 2 comes later, which is kind of the main theme. And it peaks at Part 9, which is called The Door to Heaven. And this is where I want to talk about the spiritual content of the lyrics. Like most Neal Morse projects, my advice to anybody who's not familiar with them is don't let that stop you. There isn't anything here that, first of all of these guys are men of faith, and none of them got dragged into this, to do this this spiritual themed album, against their will. They're all very willing willing participants. But like I said, there are a couple of J bombs in here. There's a couple of times when Neal says Jesus, and don't be afraid of that. It is not going to deter you in any way of enjoying this record, even if that kind of content doesn't mean anything to you. It's really good stuff, and it's really it's really worth checking out. And if you like prog rock or mainstream rock or fusion or anything even related to those things, I think you're really gonna love this record. I'll give YouTube another chance to grab a still shot so I can use it for my thumbnail. We're still in the building phases in this channel, but thanks for watching this, and I'll have some more content up soon. I promise. Thanks a lot.